Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for August 16th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 27 live feeds. It was day 39 in the house, and we had some nominations, some fallout from those nominations, and all kinds of shenanigans going on in this Big Brother house. And with me to talk through it all is Kirsten. How you doing, Kirsten?
I'm doing great, Taran. I'm so excited to be here to discuss the important things. Like, why would anyone throw Zach's toothbrush away? Why would someone do that?
Appalling behavior. Not since Shannon in Big Brother 2 have we seen.
Exactly. The disrespect.
You may also ask, why would somebody wear toilet paper as a fashion statement? These questions will be answered today.
Will they be answered? I don't know if I have answers. I have more questions than answers, I think.
All right. Well, as you know, last night, Zach was evicted with his $10,000 veto in his pocket, and then Rachel won the HOH. I really the interview that we did with Zach was very fun. I saw that clip going around. I also really enjoyed him pretending not to know who the HOH was in another interview, even though he'd already been told. I thought that was hilarious.
You know, I think Zach might be camp because he's certainly not serious.
But Rachel, as the HOH, did not tell anybody who she planned to nominate. And that meant that we also did not know, and quite frankly, did not know up until the nominations happened. So we really had we had an idea, but we did not know for sure it was going to happen.
And the nominations were late.
They were very late.
So we were wondering for a long, long time.
I was on the Q&A. I really do feel like, again, it's tough. It's annoying to have to criticize one of the few good HOHs of the season, theoretically. But I really do feel like it's important to talk to your allies about who you plan to nominate and make sure you get them on board. I was talking about that yesterday on the Q&A. Rachel really continues to not do that too much throughout the morning, though she does do something else that at least hasn't been done super well prior, that certainly Ava didn't do super well, which is she does have some one-on-ones. She does talk through some of the nominations with some of the other people in the house. But the big thing here, of course, is that immediately after Rachel won, Mickey, who had been going around the entire house trying to organize a Rachel backdoor, quickly found herself in a tricky position. Ashley, Ava, and Will were talking about how, look, if Mickey goes up, she deserves it. So you would think maybe Rachel doesn't need to have those conversations with her allies. They're already on board, but it's always important. We do start the day, though. Ava and Will were talking. And Ava was basically like, look, frankly, I love Mickey, but if Mickey decided to go against Rachel behind our backs, that's the bed she made, and I don't intend to lie in it with her.
And again, this is so bizarre. Like, it was not behind your back. But I do like this, just framing it, even when talking to Will, who also is aware that this was not behind their backs. It's like, nope, anybody asks, we were not privy to this information.
Yeah. So she does believe that Mickey still wants to work with them, because basically Ava's talking about the conversation she had with Rachel the night before, where Rachel was trying to corroborate some of the information that Ashley was telling her about Mickey with Ava, and Ava was not really giving up the goods. Saying, and she does say, like, she thinks Mickey does still want to work with them, but she also knows she's telling that to Morgan. And she did try to vouch for Mickey a little bit last night with Rachel, but only slightly. And she was only telling the truth. She tried to be, she said, I tried to be honest with Rachel while maintaining some dignity for Mickey. And so that's how she approached it. But they both feel very good with Rachel. They trust that Rachel will not put them up.
Yeah, everything is feeling really good for them. They've obviously never targeted Rachel, so what's there to be worried about?
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Mickey and Morgan are trying to figure out what should they do. They've been caught with toilet paper in their pants, as a metaphor, and they need to figure out who should they pitch to go up on the block. She's not going to put up Will. She's not going to put up Ashley. She's not going to put up Ava. She's probably not going to put up Keanu. Who does that leave? And they're trying to figure this out. They're like, whoa, we're racking our brains.
Well, I mean, it's so hard. There's so many people here, but then there's so many that are counted out. The Morgan and Mickey vibes have just been so foul for so long that it's like, ugh, I have to listen to them talk. I don't want to.
In the meantime, Morgan goes down and talks to Lauren, and made a very funny comment to Lauren. This is in the bathroom. She's like, I just, Lauren, I'm at the point where, like, the people I was like, I want them in jury. Now I'm like, I don't give an F who's in there. I'm just pissed and annoyed.
This is like we've had the full circle moment for all of the jury talk, right? Like, it was like, here's who we want in jury, who's we don't want in jury. Okay, here's who we want in high jury versus low jury. Okay, actually, never mind. I don't even care. I don't care who's in the jury.
Yeah, because I mean, we need to like be clear about this, because when the jury talk started, people found it annoying, and I said, there is some validity to talking about who you want on the jury, thinking about like who might vote for you. But what the jury talk did become was not like who's going to be somebody who's a vote for me necessarily. It was often, who do I think deserves jury? And who am I going to be gracious enough to allow into my jury? And that's where like high jury and low jury came in. It was just a masked way of talking about who you liked and didn't like, and thought deserved it and thought didn't deserve it. And now, of course, that Morgan finds herself in trouble, it's like, what? All that talk about like who even gets to, like, that's stupid. Like, nobody should even really be talking about that. Like, I don't even, it's like, who even cares?
Well, and again, like, I totally agreed with you as well. Like, I think considering who will be on the jury is important. You can't worry about that when jury starts because it's too late. You have to be proactive. But again, using jury as a way to just like assassinate people's characters for no reason got old really fast. But it is so funny that the second it's not working out, it's like, oh, but nobody should think like that. It's fine.
Now, Mickey does briefly talk to Rachel before a much longer conversation with Rachel. Rachel is asking Mickey, do you feel like you've made good choices in the game so far?
I think if Rachel Rylie asked me that question, like that's you should be questioning everything you've ever known.
Well, Mickey says, yeah. I think some people in this house have made decisions, without intentionality and like the moral compass that I have, and the whole world is going to see that. So I feel pretty good about my decisions.
No, but the funniest thing in the world is that the people who talk about their moral compass and how strong of character they are and how the public is going to see that is 100 out of 100 times always the person where the public is like, we're so sick of this moralizing nonsense.
It's because the moralizing is always self-interested.
Mhm.
It's the moralizing is always to support a structure that benefits you. And so you trying to act like it's for a better cause when really you're just trying to support a system that benefits you is the like so hypocritical in so many ways. And most of the people inside of it don't even see that they're doing it because they're like, oh, I'm just appeasing the system of morality. Let's ignore the fact that the
Yes.
system of morality is good for me and bad for other people. Yeah.
And again, this is a game played in a parking lot. So I do just also want to state right up here for the record, a take I've long held. There's no such thing as deserving in Big Brother. There's no such thing as like the like there's obviously moral right and wrong actions, but there's not like I am the moral authority. Like that is just not that's not real.
So Mickey goes on to say she feels good with Will, Ashley, Ava, Morgan, Rylie. Mickey asks Rachel, well, who do you feel like was targeting you last week? And Rachel's like, I mean, I don't know. I guess if nobody was targeting me, maybe it was BB Paranoia. And they talk about Vince and whether they can trust Vince, but the conversation doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah. And afterward, Morgan comes in and talks to Rachel briefly, also not saying much. And after those two conversations, Ashley's like, man, they're so fake, it hurts. They're so fake, it hurts. Morgan couldn't even say anything to you.
Brief moments of Ashley being good yesterday. There aren't too many for us to talk about.
Last word spoken before disaster, because Ashley's basically going to have long conversations with Morgan and then Mickey. But I think we can sort of gloss over those for the most part and focus mostly on Mickey's conversation with Rachel because it's all the same stuff. So Rachel then begins her one-on-ones with people. Rachel talks to Rylie and Katherine. She says, first of all, very pro showmance. So I want you to know that showmances should stick together. You know, me being a former showmance, met my husband of 15 years. We now have children. And, you know, us showmance people, we got to stick together. I'm rooting for you too.
And like, obviously, as people watching the game, and for the most part, we really don't like, especially Rylie, but the showmance in general. But like, this is very good from Rachel. She needs to be shoring up numbers, and having the support of a showmance is like tactically good right now. So I respect it from her, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically what I was saying yesterday. I think that as unpalatable as it is, this is not similar to the previous HOHs where there were lots of options and the ability to target Rylie and Katherine was a very appetizing one. Rachel really doesn't have a choice here. Morgan and Mickey and Vince are just too big of a problem to ignore to target Katherine and Rylie. And so if she's not going to do that, she should be doing her utmost to try to get them on her side, at least temporarily, to make sure that they're not targeting her in the coming weeks. And so I really did appreciate this conversation from Rachel. I think that it was an important one for her to have. She also does the work she needs to do to get them on board with what she's doing. I wish she did more of this with her own allies, but you know, she says, hey, Mickey was already up here pitching for you two to go up. And Katherine's like, that doesn't surprise me. And Rylie says, I'd love to work with you. We can run this thing together. And Rachel's like, well, we don't have to run the whole thing together, but yeah. I mean, we don't, yeah, I agree. We should work together. I'd really love to get something set in stone with you guys. Listen, I can't watch you two fall in love and not support it. And Riley's like, yeah, me, man. And you know, when I thought Mickey was gonna put up Katherine, that was the scariest moment of my entire life. And that's a quote.
And again, this man is a bull rider. He's had broken bones and injuries due to that. But that was the scariest moment of his whole life.
Yeah. So Rachel said, well, then how do you feel about Mickey? Because it kind of feels like she has you guys in her pocket. And Rylie says, oh, no, I'm never going to forget that she took my HOH from me. I don't trust Mickey. So good job, Mickey, taking out Jimmy so that you could appease Katherine and Rylie. It really lasted a while. Riley
Which this
says
is
that
wild though, because like Mickey genuinely seems to want to go to the final three with Rylie and Katherine. And they don't care if he dies.
Yeah, yeah. Rylie says he appreciates Rachel's support of their showmance because he also loves love. And you know, it just sucks that we can't be as more open about things like like we can't sleep in the same bed together. It's like oh man, I wish we could just be more open. You know, I can't sleep in the same bed without I don't sleep well without her in the bed with me. I just don't sleep well.
He's never slept with her in the bed. So how would he?
It stresses me out that I'm not touching her right now. Also quotes.
It's the way he has warped, like Katherine has boundaries about like what she physically wants to do on TV or not on TV, and he has warped that to it's for game. And so I just want us to be able to be open for the game. It's like shut up. What do you mean? It's so
Yeah, I believe after the conversation about how they should slow things down, they did end up sleeping in the same bed together, which is part of the whole thing going on at the moment. So Rachel has that conversation with them, very much gets them on the same page with her about what she plans to do and potentially working together moving forward. So Rachel then talks to Lauren and really just wants to know from Lauren, like, what was up with your vote? You voted Zach out. And Lauren, I thought, actually had a pretty good explanation here. You know, I didn't think the numbers were there for Zach. So I had a conversation with him and he told me basically not to vote for him. And Rachel's like, okay. She asks Lauren who she feels close with. She says she feels super close with Katherine and Rylie. They're like her best friends in the house. She also has a good personal connection with Ava. And during her HOH, you know, Vince was helping her with opinions and stuff. So those are kind of her people.
Wild sentence. Vince was helping me with opinions and stuff. Like, I understand that she obviously means like Vince like had opinions on what I should do, but just saying he was helping me with opinions makes it seem like,
you know, going over options, helping guide me, him and Jimmy, but more him.
But it's so good because it makes it come across as like he gave me my opinions, not he was providing options and opinions of his own.
I do think though, I don't hate how she framed all of this. I think she had a good explanation for why she didn't vote for Zach. And acknowledging the connection to Vince during her HOH week, I think is solid. She knows that most people clocked them during that week. But since then, that talk has died down, and so acknowledging that it happened during that week, I think is a good thing to do. Lauren also says she admires Rachel and players like Rachel, like Janelle, because they're so confident and sure of themselves, and that's how she wants to be in the game.
She wants to be. We'll see about that.
We'll see, indeed. Rachel talks to Keanu and talks to Keanu about like basically what the plan might be. Keanu says that he wants an alliance of the two of them plus Rylie and Katherine, Kelly and Vince. Rachel's like,
well, I mean, it's final 12, we need an alliance of 6. Time to form one.
I mean, listen, again, like this isn't a bad idea for Keanu. He's like, there's a good solid line of trust through the whole alliance. I mean, maybe not with like you and Vince or Kelly and Vince. But through me.
Listen, everyone trusts me. And so I think that's why we should all work together.
Rachel asks Keanu, basically, if I do something that you don't want, are you going to change my nominations? And he's like, you mean Vince? Like, I've basically already told Vince he'd have the votes to stay, so don't worry about it. And this is particularly important because just a moment ago, she was apparently arguing with Keanu about potentially using the veto on Vince. So we'll see where all of that goes. But he does say that he would prefer Mickey to leave this week. She's like a dictator, but he will support any decision that she makes.
Well, and it is very important to note Keanu has wanted Mickey out since well before Mickey started displaying the Mictator behavior. So it's like, yeah, at this point, sure, we're all watching thinking it would be great for Mickey to go because we don't really like how she's operating in the game and kind of railroading people. But like, Keanu already wanted her out well before that.
Yes. So in the meantime, Morgan is continuing to panic. She brings up the friends with an S again.
With an S.
She's coming after my friends. Lauren and Vinny talk a little bit after her conversation with Rachel. And they talk about making it through the week because if they can just make it through this week, they might be in a good place moving forward because they can link up with Rylie and Katherine and sort of pivot from there. And I sort of initially was like, all right, whatever, nothing conversation. But as I was thinking about the layout of the house again, I did kind of realize like this actually is their best shot moving forward. It's actually a pretty good plan. They both have some good connections to Rylie and Katherine, who are becoming the most valuable piece on the board for anybody's game. And while HOHs like Rachel and Mickey and Jimmy and all of them have always thought, like, let me try to get a piece of them, it's people like Vinny and Katherine who have actual ties with them outside of that power structure, sort of forced tie. And I do think that the two of them could probably pull Katherine and Rylie more than most. And given how we know that Vince is usually able to pull in the actual connection that Lauren has, this is something I do want to flag here, something to definitely watch out for if the two of them, Lauren and Vince, do stay in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they really could cruise quite far into this game if this works out.
Mm-hmm. But obviously, in this pairing, this is. I've been saying it since last week. I'm going to continue to say it because it continues to get better and better for Rylie and Katherine. They are very much on the rise in this house, and starting to look like potential front runners to the game, and that it's only going to get even more so once we start talking more about Ashley. So we'll get there. Rachel talks with some more people. There's some more conversations that happen, but the big one comes when Mickey comes up to talk to Rachel, and oh boy, what a doozy here in this room.
It was so long. It was the longest conversation I've watched in a long time.
We talk about like, when do they call people for things? They really let this conversation linger.
Mm-hmm.
So Mickey comes up to talk to Rachel, and first she sort of tries to explain about like how she why she was so emotional about the Zach eviction, and that like, and mind you, Mickey was just downstairs talking about how she still wants Rachel gone. She hates Rachel, so on and so forth. comes upstairs. This is why I was emotional about the Zach eviction. Rachel starts talking about how she feels, or starts asking about how she's feeling in the game. Mickey's like, oh, pretty good. Nobody's left so far that was exceptionally good for my game. And Rachel's like, what do you mean by that? She's like, well, none of the people that left were people that I trusted, like Jimmy. And Rachel's like, what? Okay. And then Mickey says, all right, Rachel, before we continue, can you promise me something? Say you promise. I promise. Okay. I want you to be real with me. I feel like since Jimmy left, you haven't been real with me. So how do you feel? Honestly. And this is the start. But like, I want to just point out here, very clearly like manipulative, and it's going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't mind this bit of it, because getting to the meat of something when you are in danger is very important. Yes. And she does entice Rachel into it. Rachel responds saying, honestly, I feel very betrayed by you.
Yeah.
She says, why? I feel like you didn't take my game into consideration. And after that, you iced me out. Oh, okay, Rachel, can you come sit with me if you don't mind? Come over and sit with me. And Rachel's like,
she's an empath.
Really, Mickey? She's like, I'm sorry, I'm an empath. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm an empath. And this is where, like, again, now this was 2 in a row of like overtly, like, I read a book about power, and if I sit higher than you, then you'll be intimidated. And if I make you say something, then it'll put me in the power. Like, such clearly like manipulative tactics.
And it's also just like, so it's so weird to me. Like, if someone's like, well, will you promise me something? But then they're like trying to extract the promise before they tell you what you are promising them. It's like, yeah, you're right. It's straightforwardly just someone making an obvious power move, but it would give me such an ick that exactly. I have so much trouble with like thinking that would ever work. Although I'm sure it would work on some people. I'm an empath. Please sit next to me. I'm an empath. Well, I'm pretty sure if you were, I don't know. Anyways, I haven't seen a lot of empathy from Mickey, so I don't know if I'm gonna be buying that one.
So Rachel moves and sits over near Mickey, and she says, I feel like you've picked people over me to the point where it's detrimental to me being here. Do you think this is beyond repair, Mickey? Mickey says, do you want me to talk now? Because I didn't want to talk over you. It's like,
she asked you a question. Yes, she wants you to talk right now.
So wild to say.
It's Rachel's not monologuing. Rachel's not going on and on and on. She's saying, you pick people over me.
I basically said the quote. Yeah.
Like, that's it. And Mickey's acting as if Rachel has talked for like 35 minutes. And like, oh, is it my turn now? Can I talk
It's just
now?
so clear that she had a script, which was, I'm going to make you promise me something. Come sit near me. Are you done now? I didn't want to talk over you. Now I'm going to go. And it's like, it was so strange. She says, I thought taking out Jimmy was best for both of our games. And then goes on to talk about all of the same nonsense we've heard about Jimmy over the last few weeks. And Rachel's like, Mickey, this isn't about Jimmy. And Mickey's like, no, but the thing is that you were close with Jimmy and you believed him way too much, and so on and so forth. And, quite frankly, Rachel, I thought we were fine until the Morgan situation. And then she goes on to talk about how Morgan didn't mean it was just a checkpoint with the jury and all of this stuff. And did you know, Rachel? And this is where she gets to the real juice of what she's doing. Kelly told me that I was your target. Kelly told me that all about this conversation that you had. And this is true information. Kelly did do this. We've talked about this, that Kelly had a conversation with Rachel. She ran it back to Vince and Mickey and spilled it all because Kelly is that messy. And
she was instigating.
Mickey has this actual solid information, things that Rachel told specifically to Kelly. So Rachel is being informed truthfully that she cannot trust Kelly by Mickey. She also goes on, Mickey, to talk about some of the things that Keanu has spilled about Rachel. And again, much of this is true. However, some of it, most of it, comes from Keanu leaking to Vince, who told Mickey. So, you know, if Rachel was able to take notes here, she'd probably be able to show those notes to Keanu and go, how much of this did you tell Mickey? And how much of this did you tell Vince? Because I think there's a leak in the ship here. Unfortunately, she did not take notes. And when she tried to talk to Keanu about this afterward, she didn't have enough of the details. But Mickey is able to spill, again, a lot of truthful things that came from Rachel to Keanu that got back to Mickey. And this is where things are starting to get a little concerning for those watching. Like, this might be working because Rachel is like, okay, this is really, I can't believe they would do that. That's so frustrating. And by the way, meanwhile, while this conversation is happening, I'm on quad cam. I'm listening to both ears. In my other ear, as Mickey is going on, I'm hearing Morgan. I'm so sorry, Zach. I think I made the wrong decision. I think I shouldn't have done that. Oh, Zach, can you ever forgive me? I'm so sorry.
Which, again, like, girl, you wouldn't have been able to keep him. The votes.
She could have, yeah. I mean, with Mickey.
I guess, but like, I don't know. I feel Mickey was kind of determined.
Her, Mickey, and Ashley had the votes to keep Zach if they wanted to.
Yeah,
but
I feel like that was more of a fleeting moment, but who knows?
So they're doing that. So I just want you to know the soundtrack to this Mickey and Rachel conversation that I am listening to.
The weeping.
Yeah. So Mickey's, I love you, Rachel. Can we restart? Rachel said, I would like to. She said, well, can I ask you what you're planning to do? And Rachel's like, you know, I thought I knew what I was going to do, but now I'm not sure. It's like, oh. And Mickey's like, well, is there anyone else you need to talk to? And Rachel's like, well, I'd love to talk to Kelly about why she said all of this to you. And Mickey's like, oh, well, please don't talk to Kelly about that. Just that would be bad for me. Rachel's like, yeah, I mean, I get that, but like, I need to be able to ask her about it. Mickey's like, but then Kelly won't feel like she can tell me things anymore. Rachel's like, Mickey, this is you prioritizing your game over me again, because I can't talk to Kelly if I'm not able to talk to her about this. Mickey's like, nah, that's not true. That's not true. And things continue to spiral a little bit. Again, there's so much that's brought back to Jimmy as well. And I think that, again, there were a lot of people that were concerned, and I think rightfully so, that this could mean that this is working, right? Like, Mickey seems to be making progress. Rachel keeps saying, let's restart. I'm going to have to rethink things in terms of like my nominations. And I do really love you, Mickey, and I would love to move forward with you. Of course, we know Mickey is completely lying in this conversation. So it's like, well, is this going to work? But there were a couple of key things, I think, that stood out to me in this conversation. One of them was Mickey not wanting to talk to Kelly. But another one was the Jimmy stuff. Every time, and you can physically see it when you're talking, when you're watching Rachel and Mickey, watching Rachel and Ashley later. She's leaning into them when they're like, oh, we love you, Rachel. We really do want to work with you. It's all a big misunderstanding. It's all Kelly and Keanu's fault. Here's all the truthful things that you told them that they told us. It's so if we can just ignore what they're doing because they're messy and bad, then we can be friends again. And she's leaning in and she's leaning in. And it's like, and that's why I needed to get rid of Jimmy. And Rachel pulls back.
Yeah.
Because Rachel knows that what they're saying about Jimmy is not true. She knows it. Mickey is saying to Rachel, he didn't even care about you at all for the first 3 weeks of the game. He only cared about you maybe in the last week, but he was lying to you about all of these things. They don't know how deep Jimmy and Rachel got in that last week. Like, they are continuing to try to press this Jimmy thing. I think because they're desperate to convince themselves that it was the right decision. And all they need to do, I think all Mickey needed to do in this conversation was say, you know what, Rachel, you were right about Jimmy. I made a huge mistake. And I don't want you to make that same mistake with me because I screwed up and I didn't trust Jimmy when I should have. And it was all because Keanu convinced me that Jimmy was the problem. I really genuinely think that might have worked.
Yeah, no, I agree completely with you. Like, I think that, as you said, like, Mickey feels so sure of that decision being correct and needs everyone to agree with her that the decision to get rid of Jimmy was correct, that she is framing everything around, and this is why Jimmy had to go. And this is why Jimmy actually never loved you. And this is what the problem was. You're so right, though. If she had just framed it more about Keanu's messy, Kelly's messy, there are leaks, the information is getting back, and I thought it was coming from Jimmy, but I was wrong. It was actually Keanu and Kelly the whole time, and they made me make this horrible mistake, and I feel so dumb, and I like can we move forward and forge a new path and accept that, you know, what's done is done. I can't bring him back, but let's move forward together. Like, I really do think that could have worked. Something as well Mickey brought up like several times is being like, I'm not a professional BB player. I'm not a professional Big Brother player. And it's like, technically you're all actually getting paid to play Big Brother right now. So you actually are a professional Big Brother player.
Yeah.
Technically.
So this conversation again just continues and continues and continues.
Forever.
And people are freaking out because Rachel's talking about changing her noms, and then the feed's cut in the middle of this conversation for the nominations. And it really feels like what a wild conversation to have if Rachel plans to put Mickey on the block, because she basically gave no indication that she planned to do so.
And you know what? I like it. Like, I know, like, you've made a good point. You should be talking to everyone. Like, you should be getting more input. It feels very old school in a way that is refreshing and fun.
Well, the feeds come back, and Mickey, Morgan, and Vince have been nominated for eviction, despite the very long conversation. And oh boy, there is fallout, because Mickey has gone from, can you come over here and sit with me, Rachel, to, I can't believe her. I can't believe she begged me. She begged me to send her home. I should have sent her ass home. She's talking with Will and Ava and Ashley. And this is actually very funny because, Will always agreeing with people that he's talking with, but also, and this was a bit of a surprise, Ashley on board too. So every time Mickey says something, Ashley and Will like do an echo. I should have sent her ass home. Will, yep. Ashley's like, yeah. Should have sent her home. Yeah, should have sent her home. Yeah, should have sent her home. She's feeling really comfortable. Yeah, she's feeling really comfortable. And Mickey is crying. She is ranting. She's saying, she's the same person she was 15 years ago. Nasty, manipulative, conniving. 2 kids and a husband does not make you a better person. She should go back to her kids.
It's so, Mickey continuously brings up Rachel having like a husband and 2 children. Continually brings up Rachel being 40, when it's like, well, first of all, I think we're seeing maybe some jealousy of wanting kids and a husband, and then lashing out about how, that doesn't make you better just because you have, like, and what does it mean? How does that have any relevance to the game of Big Brother whatsoever? Like, you caused this with your nasty behavior, which is like so bizarre. This is not the same Rachel from 15 years ago either. Also,
she didn't even watch that. She doesn't even know who that Rachel is.
The only person I'm pretty sure in this house that has watched that Rachel was Lauren, and she was 8. So she doesn't actually really remember it that well. So it's very strange. It's extremely strange, extremely harsh. She goes out of her way to be like, and she's the oldest one here. And then Will has to finally stop echoing to be like, oh, actually, I'm the oldest one here. But again, it's when people are talking about like almost like weaponizing someone's motherhood or like wife status against them, it's always gendered, right? Because Mickey would never make a comment about a man being too old or a man having to go home to his wife and 2 children or partner and
Yeah,
children.
I mean,
like,
yeah, Will's right there.
like she would never say that about him at all, period. But she feels very comfortable to place these judgments on Rachel in an extremely uncomfortable way.
I mean, that's the thing, right? About the comment is like, who was saying that, Mickey? Who was saying, like, did Rachel tell you, oh, I had a husband and children, and that made me a better, like, domesticated person? Or is that like the implication here? Like, what do you mean that they didn't make her a better, like, who's claiming that?
Yeah. Like it's not like Rachel's walking around going, I'm better than you because I'm married and I have kids. Rachel's going around saying like, I love love. I guess like the most you could stretch it is it was like the moment when Rachel said like, put some respect on me. Like I had the first like big brother baby. And so I guess if you really wanted to stretch that in the most ungenerous way, you could kind of understand what Mickey is stretching into a complete fabrication. Again, Rachel never said this. I'm just trying to think of like, was anything ever said that then got stretched so far out of proportion? And that's like, maybe that's the best I can do to try and figure it out.
Mm-hmm. So Mickey is very upset, of course. Morgan is crying to Rachel, upset about the situation. But the big surprise here is that Ashley is pissed, genuinely pissed. After Mickey leaves, Ashley's saying to Will, like, God, Rachel screwed us. Like, I can't believe she did this without consulting us. Like, what a mistake. She's been tricked by Keanu and Kelly. And this is because Morgan and Mickey had the same conversation Mickey had with Rachel with Ashley, only Ashley bought it. Despite it, yeah, again, it was partially true, but the part about them not targeting Rachel was obviously not. And this is where Ashley seems to have fallen for this lie. She seems to genuinely believe, to some degree, that this was not a justified move. That Rachel was fooled by Keanu and Kelly into making the move.
Yeah, well, and I think it's more that Ashley wants to believe it versus like she wants to believe it so badly that she buys in versus having any actual evidence to support believing this. But then she goes, Ashley has 1 speed and it is full tilt. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so it's important to remember that I was talking about this last week. Ashley did plan to evict Keanu under any circumstances last week, despite that not being, in my opinion, good for her game. She still is on this anti-Keanu kick. And so it was very easy to go from where she was literally just hours before, they're so fake it hurts. If they go up on the block, it's their own fault, to, oh, Rachel, you're so stupid for falling for it. And maybe I helped a little bit, but you need to correct this mistake, Rachel. And I really was trying to, because like this is the thing. Ashley has, despite some of her messiness, been one of the sort of like smarter players in terms of perception in the game thus far. She tends to see things more clearly than a lot of the other people in the house. And again, this is a low bar, but it was surprising to see her so thoroughly snowed. And so I was trying to figure out, like, what is the angle here is there any world where this makes sense? And I genuinely don't think so. Like her best result here is being at the bottom of a 5 of like Vince, Morgan, Mickey, Lauren. Like if she goes in this direction, it's just a strange direction to go in. What I will say is I think she is rightly concerned about Rylie and Katherine, rightly concerned about Keanu and Kelly. But I don't see the world where it makes sense for her, for Rachel to not take out one more, ideally somebody like Morgan, somebody who has no solid relationship with Ashley whatsoever. To then sort of clear the board for them to like all team up against those other players now in the future, because now you can sort of link up with Mickey more. You can link up with Vince to some degree, because Vince is well, that's the problem, is Vince is always a problem. I mean, so here's what I'll say. I think that if I'm trying to credit Ashley as much as possible, I think that there is a very real danger of, again, Rylie and Katherine becoming a huge problem. But Ashley going so hard and trying to take out somebody like Kelly this week instead of one of Mickey, Morgan, or Vince only sort of further bolsters Rylie and Katherine's position, because they are currently, granted, like given that it's likely to fail, like she is putting herself as more of a problem for Rachel, forcing Rachel to have to rely even more on Rylie and Katherine, and not be able to like pull in Ashley and Will as much as she would obviously like. So it's a very strange situation, and it seemed very sort of out of the blue just how strongly Ashley was anti-Rachel, just like on a dime. Yeah. And so it was very shocking for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, it happened really fast. I think that this, is one of the dangers of keeping very annoying people in the house, is sometimes people are really going to want those annoying people out, like a Kelly. But also, I mean, Ashley will say things like, "Oh, if Mickey goes up, it's her own fault." But like Ashley, it definitely feels a connection to Mickey and wants to work with Mickey, and so it's not like 100% surprising that she would maybe go along with it. But it is just like, it was so fast. We've seen Ashley clock so many things accurately to people's faces, and so to see her just like parroting incorrect information is so strange and annoying. But
yeah, I mean, just a couple of days ago, Mickey was on Ashley about how she should disassociate herself with Rachel because they plan to backdoor her soon. And meanwhile, she was telling people like Will, we're gonna have to get rid of Ashley, maybe pre-jury. And it's like, this is and Ashley knew these things. Like Ashley knows these things about Mickey. She's been talking about these things about Mickey. And so that's exactly where, like, defanging her by removing Vince or Morgan from the game right now allows you to actually have Mickey more as an ally, more as a shield, as a weapon in front of you. And you can do that. You could have the votes here to keep Mickey around, if you have Rachel on board to keep Mickey, while still taking out one of Morgan or Vince, and you get to be like, Mickey, I hate that you're up on the block. Sucks that I have to vote out one of your allies. Sucks that you're more reliant on me. It's just such a good position for Ashley to be in. I was like very ready to be like, what a great week for Ashley. Like Ashley's actually a serious winning contender here all of a sudden. And then she kind of starts going down this path, and it's just like, what, Ashley?
Yeah, well, and especially like we still have the veto, we still have the BB blockbuster. Like there's a very, I mean, it's even possible that like none of these three could go home at the end of the week where he sits at. This is where I get to the point of feeling a little bit like an Ava of like, why are we naming a target? Like, why would you even think about it right now? It's irrelevant. Like, frankly, it's irrelevant right now.
So, So Rylie talks with Rachel after the nominations. He asks her what she wants to do, what she's thinking this week, and she says, "Well, look, you can do what you want. There's a veto, there's a blockbuster. We can figure it out later." A pretty funny conversation because it's basically him being like, "So what do you want me to do, Rachel?" And her being like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And he's like, "Well, I want to do what you want to do." And she's like, "Well, I want you to do what you want to do."
No, that's so real. That's me and Josh trying to figure out what to do on like a Saturday afternoon.
I think Rachel very smartly says, there's a veto in a blockbuster. We can figure it out later. No point in naming a specific target right now. Ava talks to Rachel. She says, "I don't have an issue with your noms. Do I like Mickey? Yes. Was she doing too much? Yes." Rachel says, "Mickey was running your HOH. She was running the game. She was taking over your HOH room." And Ava's like, "Yeah, I know. I was just trying to ignore it." Which very much tracks for her HOH, right?
I just wanted to sit and listen to my CD.
Yeah. So then Ashley has her conversation with Rachel. She goes up to the HOH room and goes to the bathroom first to walk out so that she can have this very serious confrontation with Rachel about why she would make these nominations. And while she's having this very serious confrontation with Rachel about why she should make these nominations that are actually pretty good for Ashley, she has a large amount of toilet paper sticking out of the back of her pants.
Yeah.
That the camera is just zooming in and out on, just really making sure everyone knows. It's a comical amount of toilet paper just coming out and then draping down. I couldn't even believe it when I first saw it. I was like, is that on purpose? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, I listen. I was sitting here trying to figure it out, and I was like, okay, well, like, did she try to drop this massive quantity of toilet paper in the toilet and she missed, and it went to her pants and she didn't notice? Or listen, was she perhaps trying to make a sanitary product out of toilet paper because they did not have what she needed in that specific stall in that specific moment, which I think is I think that's a situation that's happened to a lot of people, where you're trying to craft a sanitary product, but I've never seen it become a tail before. No, Taran, no. Like, did she put it on the toilet seat as like a toilet seat cover, and then it got stuck in her pants?
That was her explanation afterward. Yes, is that it was she put it on the seat as a cover, and then I guess as she's pulling up her pants, it just got stuck in there.
No,
I
but
just
how do you
want
not
you all
notice
to
that
know
happening?
that it is like this for it had to have been at least an hour of this very serious conversation.
It's so much toilet paper. And also, like, okay, I understand there's a lot of people living in the Big Brother house. Do you need a toilet seat cover in the house?
I mean, honestly, I can't knock it.
Like,
I don't know what these people are doing.
I guess actually, never mind. You're correct, because it seems like these people are disgusting, and Rachel is the only thing saving them from living in a puddle of piss. So, you know what? Fine. Make a toilet seat cover.
Yeah.
Just feels wasteful.
So I just, like Vince before her in the egg costume, I just want to make sure you understand the visuals of this conversation. Ashley says, "Rachel, we're still good, but it was shocking. You could have given me a fair warning." And this is fair. Again, I'm going to say this. For as much as I don't think this makes much sense for Ashley to feel in the first place, I think this is ultimately a failure of Rachel. I really feel like it is so important to be collaborative with your nominations. There was a lengthy period of time with Ashley where Rachel could have told her what she was doing and elaborated more on why, and really gotten Ashley on board, made sure that Ashley knew all of the information, all of the things about Mickey and why she's going on the block. Ashley knew some of those things already, but for her to know that Rachel knows them and to share it and to be a part of the decision so that this doesn't feel to Ashley like, wow, Rachel made this decision on her own and I had no part in it and I don't agree with the decision, but instead feel like I was a part of this decision and we maybe made a mistake, even if that's the tiny little thing that you get from that conversation. That's so huge for Ashley to have gone from last night saying, Mickey, if she's on the block, she did it to herself, to this morning saying she's so fake it hurts, to then after noms being like, I can't believe Rachel, she's maybe an enemy now because I can't believe she made these nominations without consulting me. That's just a mistake from the HOH. There's no reason it should be like that.
Yeah, but also Ashley gave Rachel a lot of the information that informed this decision. And like, yeah, sure, Rachel has played before. She should maybe know better to be a little bit more collaborative. But Rachel is used to playing with allies that are so ride or die that it's just fine. And also like, Ashley could have pushed and asked for the information a lot more. Like, I feel like Ashley was very fine with not knowing who the noms were going to be. And that is also an error on her part.
I certainly, I'm not saying that Ashley is not also making an error here, just to be clear. But I think that like, that is sort of the point I'm making where it's like, just because you have a person in front of you that seems to be like, oh yeah, it's totally fine if you don't tell me. In fact, I'm on board potentially. That doesn't mean that you can just take that to the bank. You still need to go through the motions of just the basics that you do as the HOH. Have your one-on-ones, talk to your allies, make sure they're in on the discussion, make sure they're on board with your move. I just think that again, some basic things that you should do as the HOH. I really think that Rachel could have avoided a lot of this if she had just done some of that. But Ashley says, I found out a lot of stuff after talking with Mickey and Morgan today. Kelly and Keanu are playing you, girl. And she goes on to give Rachel the same information that Mickey did. She's like, Mickey was with us. And Rachel's like, well, she's with you. She's going, no, but she wasn't coming for us. This is all Keanu, and you fell for it, Rachel. You fell for it. And Rachel's like, no, I didn't fall for it, Ashley. I have a plan. And Ashley says, well, you'd have to do something pretty big to repair things. Rachel's like, well, what if I like won the veto and backdoored someone else? And she's like, yes, that's exactly what I mean. Ashley says, Mickey never once told me that she was coming for you, Rachel. Never once. And when I was talking to her, I told her that you were never coming for her, even though I know you were coming for her. It's just like, Ashley.
It's just like, could she be any more transparent here? I'm not.
She was incredibly transparent. She was like, Morgan was never coming for you. Rachel was like, Morgan literally admitted she was coming for me. And she's like, well, okay, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But anyway, it's still a mistake. And it's just like, it is so many tells for like, you have no interest in Rachel's well-being. And you are very clearly trying to push a specific agenda for unknown reasons.
Yes.
So, but again, though, in this conversation, I mentioned it before, Rachel's leaning in, and then Ashley brings up Jimmy. She's like, and don't be a Jimmy. Rachel's, what do you, he was mean. Don't forget what kind of person Jimmy was. He was a bad person. He was a mean person. He was trying to get me out. And Rachel's like, Ashley, he was not trying to get you out. She's like, no, Mickey said, because he was trying to get me out of the house. And Rachel's like, he was not. He maybe considered you for a renom during his HOH, but then everything changed the following week. He was with us deeply for at least 2 whole weeks before any of that happened. And Ashley's like, I don't know, but just don't forget what kind of person he was, Rachel. Man, Rachel, just can't believe you did this. If you hadn't made this move, you could have skated to like 7 or 6, and then fight it out to the end. And Rachel's like, oh, I don't know, Ashley. This game is hard. You know, if I win the veto, maybe I'll have to rethink everything.
Yeah. Well, you know, they could use this nomination as just like a learning moment for Mickey, for her to learn.
Yeah.
Life lesson.
So the question comes again. Is Rachel being honest with Ashley, with Mickey? Is it possible that when Rachel was talking to Mickey, she really was leaning into that conversation to some degree, but it was too late to change the nominations? And now that she's talking to Ashley, she also potentially agrees with Ashley, and maybe is willing to make a different move, because she did, again, learn true information about Kelly and Keanu, both revealing way too much about her plans. Kelly talking about targeting Rachel, and apparently did talk a little bit with Kelly prior to noms, to the point where Kelly thought she might be going up on the block, but then that didn't end up happening. She has not really had a proper further elaboration conversation with either Kelly or Keanu that we have seen at this point. So it is possible that Rachel genuinely might plan to do some kind of bigger backdoor to either Keanu or Kelly, or maybe Rylie or Katherine, I guess would be the implication. Obviously, that would make less than zero sense for Rachel's game. And there's a lot of reason to believe that she's just giving lip service to both Ashley and Mickey, given how blatantly sort of one-sided they are. The big thing comes when she talks with Ava later, which we will get to shortly. And she says the same thing to Ava, even though Ava is on her side in the Mickey situation. There's not really a lot of reason to give lip service to Ava if you have no intention of doing this. So that is sort of the biggest indicator that there's a possibility that she might do something else. But given how absolutely wildly illogical it is, you have to assume it's not true. But again, this is Big Brother 27.
Yeah, I do think a lot of this kind of confusion and the huge amount of possibilities does come from, like, Rachel doesn't really trust anyone because no one has actually proven themselves to be properly trustworthy. And so I could see her just kind of trying to keep the peace as much as possible until a final decision needs to be made, or alternatively kind of leaking things, seeing what gets out and what doesn't get out, like who is actually the leak, though telling Ava kind of defeats that a little bit.
So all that's going on there. Now there are two main sort of people that a lot of the ire is being focused on. One of which is Kelly. Again, there was a bit of an interaction before Kelly. Before the nominations with Kelly, where Rachel was talking to her about something, I assume part of the thing that she was told about from Mickey. And then Kelly also apparently hugged Morgan and Mickey after the nominations, saying, welcome to the party. Which they were very, very not fond of.
Welcome to the party. Listen. Again, this is the problem with keeping annoying people in the house, because at a certain point, it's funny. That's hilarious. I really hope they keep that in the episode.
So Mickey, Morgan, and Vince, the three block buddies, they're talking about Kelly and how much they hate her and how annoying she is, and how she said, welcome to the party. And then they asked her if she'd be willing to use the veto on them, and she said no.
How dare she?
Excuse me? She's got to go. And do you see how happy she's been these last 2 weeks? And Vince is like, yeah, it's because she's not on the block anymore. Ugh. Now she's so happy. Oh, God forbid somebody like Kelly has a birthday and is happy that she's not on the block. God forbid somebody is allowed to be happy in the Big Brother 27 house. How dare she? Does she not know how less of a deserving human being she is? I hope she gets no food tonight when we put all the meat in it. I hate her.
Yeah, he does. He really, really does. It is so funny. so funny for someone like Vinny, whose entire mood and demeanor is determined by how he perceives himself as performing in the Big Brother game. And if people are not perceiving him to be doing well, he's happy. And if they see him as a target, he's mad and it's not fair. To then be upset with someone for being in a good mood when they're not on the block.
I will say, to be fair to Vinny, this is mostly Mickey and Morgan, and he's doing his Vinny thing, which is just agreeing with them emphatically.
Yeah.
But yes, still quite annoying. Just that line got me. That like, oh, she's been so happy these last 2 weeks. How frustrated? Like how dare she?
It's the point where she could be doing literally anything and they would hate it. It's like the bitch eating crackers situation. It's like, oh, look at that bitch eating crackers. Like nothing that Kelly does will please these people unless it is winning the veto and taking one of them off the block. That's the only thing she can do that will give a moment of goodwill. And guess what? It won't last because this is like a little trio of, it's like, I mean, it's really giving, Regina George.
So the other victim in all of this, when it comes to Mickey and Morgan, is weirdly Lauren, because Morgan comes up with this theory that nobody could have possibly told Rachel that we were coming for her except for Lauren, because Lauren is the only other person that knew. And she explains this theory to Vince, Lauren's secret funnel too.
Yeah.
How she only told Mickey and Lauren. Oh, and you, Vince, but obviously you didn't say anything. And it must have been Lauren that leaked this. Let's ignore the fact that basically everyone knew that they were coming for Rachel. And they had told basically everyone this, that Morgan herself had been going off about the storage room. I was in the storage room and Rachel said friends. She had said that to so many people, but it must be Lauren. And she's going off about Lauren to Vinny. And she's talking to Vinny, saying, and the thing about Lauren too is that I would have respected her more if she had voted for Zach to stay. She says to Vinny, the guy on the block next to Zach, when she voted for Zach to stay, she says, and sometimes you like a girl for her looks only, and then she doesn't even have your back. You know what I mean? Like, wow.
Morgan is never going to be able to get over Zach being more interested romantically in Lauren than her, ever. Because that's, again, we know Morgan doesn't get over anything. She's still upset about her prom dress, and she is 3 years old, or 31. I'm not sure her age, but again, she's still upset about the prom dress, which she bought knowing that other girl already owned that dress, by the way, in case you haven't seen her talk about it over and over and over again. She'll never get over it. She also said, which I also think is funny, to Vinny, that Lauren doesn't have a spine because of this, when Vinny is the most spineless person I think I've ever seen play this game.
So there's also a moment that has been going around, that Morgan was in the bathroom. She finds Zach's toothbrush in the trash. She goes, "What? Who threw Zach's toothbrush in the trash?" And she leans down and she takes it out. She's like, I mean, I don't know if he'll want to use it anymore now, but, and then she puts it back in the cabinet.
No, this is disgusting. This is actually so disgusting. Like, first of all, Zach's gone home. You think he's just going to be without a toothbrush until the end of the game because he left it in the house?
Well, Kirsten, now she's going to have to go visit Zach to give him his toothbrush back. Oh,
I'm going to throw up. This is, if someone tried to give me my old toothbrush that was thrown in the trash, I would file for a restraining order. I'm sorry. Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
It's so gross. Like, grabbing anything out of the garbage, gross. I feel like the bathroom garbage is like the grossest garbage that you could grab it out of.
All right. Well, Kelly talks more with Lauren, strategizes with Lauren about how to potentially keep her safe this week. Kelly is under the assumption that Lauren would be the renom if the veto was used. And so she goes over votes with Lauren in the event that that happens. She says that she would be a vote for Lauren no matter what. Lauren is the person she trusts the most in the house. And she's even willing to vote for Lauren to stay over Vinny, which Lauren is very happy to hear. Ava talks to Will because she just overheard a conversation between Mickey and Ashley. And this is just another one of their Rachel sucks. She's so annoying for doing this. I can't believe she did this, so on and so forth conversations. They're having this conversation while Ava is sleeping in the same room. Ava's like, oh my God, Will, I don't know what to do because I just overheard Ashley telling Mickey everything Rachel said to her. Those idiots thought I was asleep. Now what am I gonna do? Man, Mickey's been going around saying she never did anything to Rachel, which is frankly wild. And what the hell is Ashley doing? Like, Rachel kept her ass safe this week. Be grateful. Frankly, if Mickey keeps acting a fool this week, then there's nothing that I can do. Yes, it's very funny.
It's so just lovely to hear, our thoughts and opinions happening in the Big Brother house.
They go on to talk about Keanu. Will says, Keanu's just gonna win this game. And Ava's like, well, it's not like it was, like the social part of this game doesn't even matter if you just win everything. And Will goes, well, no, because I will not vote for Keanu in the final two unless he's sitting next to Kelly.
Yeah, it's
because
like, okay,
such a bad social game.
So which is it? He's gonna win this game, or you absolutely won't vote for him against almost anybody? Make it make sense.
Yeah. So Ava goes upstairs and tells Rachel about what she heard. She says, watch out. Ashley's saying all this stuff to Mickey and basically, talks through all of it. Rachel is like, wow, well, should I use the veto on her to make amends? And Ava's like, well, you could. That's something you could do. I don't know. I feel like I would want the noms to say the same. And so this is where Rachel is talking to Ava in the middle of Ava ratting out Ashley and Mickey, that she's still considering using the veto to make a bigger move, to make amends with Mickey. So we'll see.
I just can't. For me to continue, I need to believe that that's not true. And yes, I'm living in delusion, but maybe it's not true. And so I'm just going to wait until we see a veto result before I start freaking out about this, because it's going to be a long week if we start freaking out on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you feeds are back from the veto draw already, because this is becoming quite a lengthy update. So we'll try to speed through the rest of this. But Lauren and Will were apparently chosen to play in the veto. So if that's true, what I would say is if Rachel does want the veto to be used, every single person is likely going to use it. If Rachel doesn't want the veto to be used, then probably only Rachel and maybe Will would not use it. Lauren would, I think, definitely use it on Vince. Then any of the other three would obviously take themselves off the block. So something to keep in mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Ashley talks to Keanu and basically goes through the same rant about Rachel's nominations to Keanu, which is a wild decision.
Deeply unserious. What do you mean?
Yeah. Morgan talks to Rachel again. She's asking, who told you about me targeting you? Rachel says she doesn't want to say, but she was told a while ago that they wanted her to be the first person in the jury. That's why she took so much offense to the jury comments. After this conversation, Morgan says to Vinny, okay, I guess it couldn't have been Lauren.
At least she got that far. At least she got there.
But what she says is, yeah, I guess it wasn't Lauren. They're editing this out. But I still don't like her. She's still spineless. Yeah. Still frustrating.
She's spineless. Mind you, just just to remind us all, who did Morgan vote to evict on Thursday night?
No, that was such a mistake. I regret it forever.
Interesting. I just think in this house of spineless people, we should not be throwing stones at the glass house of
should not be throwing spineless stones. We should not be throwing dumb stones. So that's basically it. The person Rachel's referring to in that conversation was Ashley, by the way. I don't like. Again, Morgan thinks that she's way more tight-lipped than she is. She said all of that stuff in front of Ashley one day, and it immediately got back to Rachel. And so that's basically where things stand at this point. Yes. Obviously, a lot up in the air heading into the veto competition. The big question is, what will Rachel do with a renom, given that it's very likely going to happen? And will she just put up Lauren as a solid replacement, or will she dig into some of the other reserves here? Rylie or Katherine, Kelly or Keanu. Is it even possible that Ashley goes up on the block with everything that she's doing? It wouldn't be super impossible. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But the current vote situation does place Rylie and Katherine as swing votes, probably in a lot of scenarios, as per usual. They do seem willing to do what Rachel wants this week, but we'll have to wait and see on that as well.
Yes, we're in for another roller coaster ride this week, everybody. And listen, it's not even... What are these people going to do on day 44, Taran? I've been stressing about it for actual weeks, and now we're starting to get close.
Well, that's the thing, is that like usually, players they don't really know the game. They start learning on the fly. They start adapting. And then by day 44, they're kind of in full gear. Today is day 40, and we're still getting disastrously bad decision-making and reads from so many of these players. I can't even fathom what a day 44 would look like.
So Waffle Wednesday this week is day 44. We're in trouble. Y'all, we are literally in danger.
The fates really have it in for day 44. All right. Yeah. Anything else to bring up before we wrap this up, Kirsten?
Rylie was talking about how he's going to marry Katherine again.
Of course.
It's gonna happen. Whether she wants it or not, it's going to happen. And they did also have... It made me laugh very hard. They were talking about like how long their arms are and how your arms are supposed to be like your wingspan is supposed to equal your height. And Rylie made a comment of like, well, that's not true because my elbow's all messed up. And it's like, it doesn't account for injuries, Rylie. What do you mean? Just in a house of people saying really, really dumb stuff. It was one of the dumbest things I heard all day, and it made me laugh very hard.
You don't know. That's not true. It's my elbow's different.
Like, you broke your arm and it wasn't set correctly. That doesn't make like... And it's fine. Anyways. We've got to move on.
All right.
That's all I've got for you.
Okay. Well, that's what we have for you today. Again, tune in tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. There's going to be a lot more to update on because we'll have the veto results and probably a likely replacement, or at least some kind of indication of what the plan might be. We'll see where everything falls with Will, with Ashley, and then, of course, with Keanu and Kelly and all of them. So stay tuned. Make sure you check out my YouTube and Twitch channel. I was streaming yesterday after the nominations happened. Plenty of analysis going on there in real time as well. And you can, of course, check out my book, Behind the Mirror. Kirsten has one as well. And you can find it at taranarmstrong.com if you want to pre-order it now. Kirsten, anything else?
Yeah, follow me at Kirsten Said What. Listen to myself, Asia, and Jason break down the Perfect Match finale over on the Perfect Match feed and the Hot Dummies on Islands feed. And Scally and I are still talking about Love Island Beyond the Villa, which we thought was 6 episodes, but turns out it's 8. So there's actually 2 more weeks of that for y'all.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today, and I will see all of you next time.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.